If you don't learn how to make money work for you while you're sleeping, you will work until you die.
Yeah. So how do you keep it under control then? So how do you get money to start working for you and keep it under control?
This is your specialty, right? This is one of the things you're looking for someone to come on and take you up on your offer still. Again, we're making sure the foundation's stable, leaks are slowing down. That means you're keeping your interest. The capital starts to matter differently. You start building up the liquidity fund we always talk about, the opportunity fund. And so now you're starting to say, well, how do I put my money to work when I'm sleeping? How do I keep it under control? What do I know, like, and understand? How do I have the money working while it keeps growing, right?
Yeah, because you don't want to just sit there. You also don't want it to just disappear into the bills, into the ether. So at some point, the money should be helping you build the next chapter, the next story of life, right? The next chapter of life, so to speak.
Welcome to another episode of WealthWise Banking. Jason Sipple here in the City Beautiful, and I'm with the one, the only, my co-host, Mr. Jeremy Lee Huggins. How you doing, Huggy Bear?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Do you like that? Did you feel like you were coming in to fight me?
Oh, yeah, no, well, not you. No, not in particular.
Yeah, you have to take mercy on me. Take mercy on me. It'd be mercy killing. So
Yeah, so I'm excited about today's episode. I thought this idea that you had, at first, I'm not sure where you had it, but when you said the saying that you're going to get in here, the little tagline, I thought it'd be a great episode. And so that's what we're here to talk about is why your money disappears even if you earn good money.
I thought about, I always think about making things simple as simple. So you asked me where it came from before I jump into it. And I've been thinking about all these sayings, right, that I have during calls or when people ask me something, the simpler you can make it. And this is basically this episode is a 5 or 10 or 15 or 20-year journey in 30 minutes. And so it all starts with this idea. Progress equals happiness. And here's the problem. A lot of hardworking people don't feel the progress with their money. They make decent income, they work hard, they show up early, they stay late, they try the right things. Yet money still feels tight. Comes in, it disappears, and quietly, the question starts showing up in the back of their mind. Why does it feel like I'm working so hard, but not actually getting ahead? This is a moment most people start chasing a better investment, a new strategy, or the next big move. They're looking to be like the Bomb Bro or the Smash Brothers in the 80s, McGuire and Canseco hitting it out of the park. And the real issue isn't more effort. It's not a bigger ROI. It's a lack of system. It is the system. And today, like Jeremy said, we're going to talk about how we're going to turn your financial life into a game that you can actually win. Because when progress becomes visible, you're happy and everything changes.
Yeah. Progress equals happiness, man. It's a very simple statement. And, people don't need perfect finances to feel better. All right. I think that's probably one of the key takeaways here. What they do need is to feel like things are moving in the right direction, right? That's progress. Progress is happiness. So why do so many people feel frustrated, Jason, with their money when they're working hard but not making progress?
That's a deep question. My mind just went in 20 different directions, but really it comes down to because effort, showing up and doing the same thing over and over again and not really understanding if you're moving anywhere. So progress and effort aren't the same thing.
Hmm.
Like years, Jeremy, grinding. A lot of people are grinding. They're earning, they're paying the bills. They are trying. They are looking for that dream, right? But they don't feel the momentum. And when you don't feel that progress, money, life, it starts to get really heavy, like something you're always dealing with, but never really gaining ground on. You can tell that it's like this 800-pound gorilla on your back. And that's why progress matters so much because these small wins, when you start having a system, these small wins, they change your relationship with money. They build confidence. You start anchoring that into your nervous system and it creates energy. All of a sudden you're like, I love money and money loves me, right? They make you want to keep going. And before you can make that progress, you have to know where you're starting. For the listener, when's the last time you genuinely felt progress in your financial life?
Think about that for a moment. I know that I suffered from this for a long time, trying to equate that progress and that effort to being happy, right? It's like, why am I working so hard and yet getting nowhere? Especially, I mean, it's no surprise there's a lot of hiccups when it comes to real estate investing, and you feel like you're not making progress sometimes. Perhaps the permit's not getting approved, or the project's taking longer, or you're over budget, right? You spend all this money and all you have is raw land, and all they do is take the trees off.
Hmm.
And that effort, though, like to your point, the effort isn't what makes the happiness. It's seeing progress. It's feeling progress.
Yeah, when you ask me, and thank you for sharing that. So people get that perspective. This is something that came up for me when I started celebrating really little wins because I could see the progress because money was feeling heavy because I wasn't turning around and celebrating where I came from, Jeremy. I was
Perspective.
I was putting myself against this ideal that I had out in the future of where I'm going, who I'm serving, who I'm becoming. So I had this ideal image of myself. And I wasn't looking at all the little wins. And I remember, no, this is a game. There's no failure here. And I remembered that saying. And that's why, when you said, hey, what episode do you want to do? I said, I want to talk about progress, Jeremy. I want to talk about how you have to have progress to really have happiness. And then I came up this other saying, right? And this one's always made me laugh, Jeremy, is if you want to wrestle, you got to weigh in.
hmm Yeah.
You
So what does
know,
that mean? What does that actually mean?
have you heard that before? Number one?
Well, I've heard you got to step on the mat. I think it's probably the same, idea, right?
Yeah. Well, this one, like in wrestling, you have to make weight, meaning that you wrestle whatever. I wrestled 145, 152, 160. I even cut down from 160 to 135. I was a very strong 135 pounder. Didn't look very healthy because in wrestling, you don't just jump into the match, right? Before the match, you got to weigh in if you want to actually get the chance to wrestle. And so when it comes to money, I had someone ask me this question today, Jeremy. She's like, yeah, I don't know why, but I filled out that financial weigh-in that you sent my way. And I said this, and I was like, well, you can't wrestle if you don't weigh in because if you don't know where you're at, how could you possibly know what job your money has? Money works that same way. If you don't know what's coming in, what's going out, what's happening, where it's going, whether it's matching the life that you say you want, then you're not really playing a game. You're just reacting. And that's how so many people live. It's not because, Jeremy, they're responsible. It's because, again, they've never had a system to make the numbers visible. And that once you weigh in so you can wrestle, that clarity is going to give you everything you want because now you can finally make a change.
Yeah, and when most people finally look real closely at their money patterns, so that's a different episode, money patterns, they start to see the same thing, right? They start seeing the same patterns over time. So if you sit down today and look at the last 90 days, like think about the
Mm.
last 90 days, would your money tell a clear story? What would it say about your spending habits, your patterns, so to speak, right? So, to Jason's point, in order to compete in the game of money, in the game of finances, the game of life, right, to get that progress, you got to figure out first what's coming in, what's going out, where's it going, and does
Hmm.
it match up? Are my patterns matching what it is that I want my life to look like?
Yeah, and that stress that you're feeling, if you're feeling stress, if you're listening, you're saying, that's me, I feel stress. The reason you feel stress, because there's a dissonance between what you want and what you're doing, right? There's a separation between those two things. And so by weighing in, you can start understanding what job that you're actually trying to give your money because of where you're actually trying to go.
Think it's also important to note here, a lot of people, they're not broke, right? They're just bleeding. And it makes me think of that old Chinese torture, right? Death by a thousand cuts at the end of
Yeah.
the day. Death by a thousand cuts. That's what it is. It's small little cuts.
Yeah. And
They
Jeremy, why
bleed.
why do so many people feel like they're working hard but still not getting ahead financially?
Yeah, well, they earned good money, right? But it's already committed elsewhere before they even touch it. It's probably going to be car payments. That's a big one. Credit card payments, student debts, interest owed to others. For me, the banks, when I do have to go and do a
Mm.
development, it's just money, that's leaving their system at the end of the day. They allocated it to someone else. They never took the time to pay themselves first.
Yeah, you're making someone else rich in the couple instances when you talked about real estate, right? You're paying someone else in interest.
Mhm.
And this again, this is this hitting frustration. And this is where when we talked about this was the first place that I had to start. First, I had to weigh in, I had to go and write everything down, everything coming in, everything going out. I had to really get a handle on what each dollar's job was and where it wasn't optimal. And then second was stopping the bleeding. What I mean by stopping the bleeding is stop paying everyone else so much interest, right? So the first real builder move is not asking, how do I get rich? How do I make an ROI? It's where is the leak? How can I shut that down first? Because when you slow that down, you start changing your financial environment. And that's where you start getting again progress. And Jeremy, what's progress give us?
Progress gives us luck. Preparation meets opportunity. Progress makes happiness.
There you go. So you just tied everything together. Just
Yeah.
progress equals happiness. And so
Mhm.
for you, like where right now, if you're being honest with yourself, remember progress only starts when you're honest with yourself. Where is your money quietly leaking right now?
Think of the first thing you just thought of, that first one. All right. Focus on that. That's probably the thing you don't want to say out loud, but you know is a problem. And that's
Mhm.
probably where you should address first. Just start small. Start with the very first thing that came to mind.
And there's a solution there, by the way. It just means you don't know what it is yet. And then, strong financial systems, Jeremy, they're built the way strong houses are built, right? You don't start at the roof and build downwards. Where do you start?
At the foundation, always the foundation.
You always start at the foundation. Your financial system's the same way. You don't start at the roof. You don't go for the big ROI first. You make sure that you build a foundation. So Jeremy, when you say financial systems need a foundation, what's that actually mean?
The base, right? The financial foundation, it matters more than the finish line because if you have a strong financial foundation, right, and your life isn't built on financial hype or guruship, it's built on the things that really hold under pressure. So think about like savings, think about control, protection, think about your liquidity.
Mm.
These are the things that help build a strong, stable financial foundation. It's a clear plan for when life doesn't go according to plan. Go ahead. I know what you're about to ask. The answers change. I saw it on your face. I saw it coming.
You saw on my because it's true. Like if you're listening to us, I mean, really think about it. It's constant. It's going to happen. Are you ready? Do you have a strong foundation? Otherwise, you don't really have a plan. For a lot of people, this is where money starts getting simpler. Remember, it's a journey. Life's a journey. We're on one big journey together. And so instead of trying to do 10 things at once, instead of thinking, I got to do this, I got to do that, and I got to do this, the first thing you want to ask yourself, is my foundation stable, right? Protect this house. Is that strong? Would this hold up if life hit hard? If change came today? Am I building something on solid ground? Or am I just hoping that hurricane's not going to blow through and rip down my whole house?
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
Now
because
that
this
you
is
live in
your
Florida, Jeremy, guess what? You got to worry about these things.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I grew up in Florida. I know what hurricanes are like, you know.
okay. Okay.
So I understand the concepts, though. I think trying to tie it into everyday life for people, it's just start small. Understand like what's going out, what's coming in, and
Mhm.
then we can start building the financial foundation. Because a lot of folks they don't know how to build a financial house, right? They don't know how to build a foundation, and that's where we come in. We're going to help you build that foundation. It's what we love doing. It's if you have a strong financial foundation, everything else that you do, you can do it safer and you could actually do it more aggressively because you have that peace of mind. You built something solid, you built something to last.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that gives you control, that gives you guarantees, and it gives you progress. And progress equals what?
Happiness.
There, see, look, you're trainable. I think you're as smart as LB. That's good. And finally, the next one is it's fun. Not finally, but next is fun, right? While you're building all these things, what are you building it for?
To
Are you built?
live.
Yeah, are you just building it to have more though, Jeremy?
No, no,
To
we're building
have
it.
more rules, more restriction, more like scrimping and saving so you can have what you want later? Is that what you
No,
want?
no. But you make a good point because a lot of plans do feel restrictive, right? A lot of financial plans say go without, cut this out, don't do that. That's not what we're saying at all. We actually want you to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, that's my favorite saying. I wish that cake didn't make me fat, but I'm still gonna eat it. And the point of this, and Jeremy, this is for you, brother. Like, it's not to build a prison with better spreadsheets, right? Like, you can
Mhm.
relate to that.
Yeah, I
The,
can.
the point of this is to build a life that feels strong, meaningful, enjoyable. It's why we're flying out on Friday and we're going out to Park City again. Why? Because we made a decision back in 2021 when my family saw snow for the first time that they said, "Wow, this is awesome." And I said, "You know what? I want to live in Florida or someplace warm, but if you want to go see snow once a year, cool. Let's make that happen." and build a system that supports that.
Yeah, for experiences, right? For memories, for joy.
Because at the end of the day, you don't stop and say, man, I'm so glad I own this or I own that. It's no, it's the experiences. It is those shared experiences. That's what we all want as people, right? Because that makes us feel happy when we're doing things that are new or things that make us happy, things that are fun together. And so a better life is because the money's working for you, not against you.
Yeah, money should be serving your life. You shouldn't be a slave to money.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. And so your reflection question on this point, again, if you're not driving, write these down because our whole point of coming back week after week with everyone here, all of our builders, is action. Write something down every time you're listening and say, where can I make some progress? And the question right now is, does your financial life make more room for living, or is it really only for surviving?
Yeah, I mean that's whew. You just reminded me my high school days. I had a childhood friend of mine who he had a job after school. So he was going to school, he had AP classes, honors classes, he had a job, he had tons of homework, and he was an athlete. And I asked him, I was like, hey, like, I won't say his name on the podcast, but I was like, hey, why do you have this job? And he's like, well, I need a car. And I was like, well, why do you need a car? I mean, we're in high school, right? What are you doing? He said that he needed a car so he could get to work. So he needed a job so he could pay for his car, and he needed the car so he could get to his job. So his money, right, was tied up. He wasn't enjoying it. He was kind of a slave to it. And we want to help people make sure that your money stops depending only on your labor as well, right? It shouldn't be cyclical. It should be building it for those experiences, those joys, those commitments that you're looking for.
I recognize that guy. I mean, I didn't know you in high school, but that could have been myself. That could have been a number of people because you're doing your best in school. You're an athlete, perhaps. You have a job to make money to get the things. Like I use money to get a car, to get to work on a sailboat I had growing up, Jeremy, like to go on a trip in high school, right? So I would work when I wasn't in school, and that's kind of trading your time for money. So now what do we have to do, right? Now we understand that progress equals happiness. We've stopped the bleeding, or we weighed in, right? We weighed in so we could wrestle, and we stopped the bleeding. Now we built the foundation. We had some fun, but now we need what's what Warren Buffett say? This is a great quote. I think you know it. What's Warren Buffett say is going to happen if you have to keep doing what to have money?
Just tell me. He's got a lot of quotes.
This one, okay, I thought you knew this one right off the top of your head. This one is just, sorry, I thought you had this was, if you don't learn how to make money work for you while you're sleeping, you will work until you
Mm,
die.
yeah. So how do you keep it under control then? So how do you get money to start working for you and keep it under control?
This is your specialty, right? This is one of the things you're looking for someone to come on and take you up on your offer still. But we're making sure the foundation's stable. Leaks are slowing down. That means you're keeping your interest. The capital starts to matter differently. You start building up the liquidity fund we always talk about, the opportunity fund. And so now you're starting to say, well, how do I put my money to work when I'm sleeping? How
Hmm.
do I keep it under control? What do I know, like, and understand? How do I have the money working while it keeps growing? Right?
Yeah, because you don't want to just sit there. You also don't want it to just disappear into the bills, into the ether, right? So at some point, the money should be helping you build the next chapter, the next, story of life, right? The next chapter of life, so to speak. So systems are they're not going to stop with you. Another reflection question here is if you had money working for you when you work, or has it started working for you on its own? So are you working for it? Are you applying labor, or is the money actually working for you?
That's a great question. And it really goes back to the thinking question. How often are you sitting down to see how intentional you are with everything that you're doing and where can you get a little bit better?
So let's
Right.
go generational then. Let's talk about
Uh,
that for a moment.
oh, this one's Jeremy. This is my jam. I know you love this too, but
Mhm.
this is fun. This is where I love because this is what keeps me up at night. Because real wealth is not just the money; it's the system that's going to outlive you. And when you start really thinking about how do you play marionette, when you're no longer here, And every time I talk about this, Connor doesn't like it because he's like, Dad, you're going to live a lot longer. You got at least another 50 years, right? But this means that your kids aren't just inheriting money, right? They're getting the understanding. They're inheriting the structure, the systems, a better way of thinking. And you're practicing this with them today. If
Hmm.
you're doing this effectively, right, you're not going to build it, you're not going to write it down, you're not going to have this big elaborate system and these processes without practicing today. Because that's the game. You want to have them taking loans, but have a way to pay it back. So, because that money without discipline, that's going to create more confusion than freedom down the road.
Yeah, money without a system is going to get spent, right? Money
Yep.
without principles is going to get lost. Money without discipline, like to your point, it's going to create confusion. And we don't want our children, our heirs, to inherit broken systems. We don't want them to inherit confusion. So how do you get around that? It's strong, stable foundations. It's teaching. We have a great financial IQ on how to use policies for different teaching habits, right?
Mm.
If your kid wants to go start a lemonade stand, I'll tell you exactly where they can get capital, right? If you have the right system in place. We've been talking about teaching financial IQ the strong way, the simple way. Jason will give you a great analogy for that one.
Yeah, and do you remember when we had the youngest banker on one of our episodes where he found out that mom and dad were scamming him? You remember
Yeah,
that?
I do. I
Okay.
do.
Well, here's a real life scenario. So not that long ago, maybe 7, 8 months ago, we took a policy loan from Connor's policy to buy Legos, to buy $450 worth of Legos. And he had a plan to pay it back, Jeremy. He was going to be doing editing, doing other things. But this is a real life example. This is not different than the Ben Franklin episode we did, where he did some work, he earned, he created value, earned money, but it wasn't consistent. It wasn't persistent. And all of a sudden, the plan to pay back the loan never happened because life happened. He was busy doing taekwondo, doing rowing, doing speech classes, doing, and that didn't happen. So now he's like, Dad, I'm done with Legos. I got all the Legos I want. They're still awesome. I want to keep them, but I'm a big boy now. I'm gonna build a computer. And so now he's getting ready to build a computer, Jeremy. He keeps researching every day. It's all I hear about is the CPUs and the G. You were here. Like, I don't even
Yeah.
know what he's talking about. And so I have to go, my friends who know about computers and they're helping me out. But now he is doing, and he came up with this on his own. I think his mom might have helped him some, but every day he's doing a 30 to 60-second video on what he learned or a quote from this book of Becoming Your Own Banker. And so now he has a plan to earn by creating value to pay back the loan that he hasn't even taken yet. I mean, did you see the little difference in it? Like we're preparing on the front end for that piece so we can teach him how this actually works. So in the future, he knows how important it is to replace and replenish the capital from the system.
Yeah. Again, keyword system. It's system. So you don't want Connor to inherit stress, right? Or even money. You want him to inherit a system.
If this episode made you realize that you need to finally see your numbers clearly, build a real system around them, that is exactly where the next step begins. Book a call with us at wealthwisebanking.com. And Jeremy or myself will help you look at where your money's going, where the leaks may be, where you need to strengthen your foundation, and how to start building a system that creates real progress. And again, not about pressure, it's about clarity because the sooner you stop guessing, the sooner you start moving.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in this week. And the next episode is going to be right around April Fools. So we'll see what we got to think about that episode for a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll see if we see you or not.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see if you see you. All right. So every single week we sign out, but I want to make sure that while we always say that you're already in banking, right? You're just not the banker yet. We'd like to see more of you start becoming your own banker. So to Jason's point, go to wealthwisebanking.com. You can catch us there.
Take care, be blessed. Thank you. See you in the next one. Thanks for joining us on WealthWise Banking. If today's episode inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and give us a like. It's a simple way to help others discover these empowering strategies and join our community. Together, we're building a network of people who believe financial freedom is within everyone's reach. Remember, financial independence is about making every dollar work for you, one step at a time. Until next time, stay inspired, stay in control, and keep building your legacy the wise way.